to my main channel. Today we are starting the official first video on the Back-To-GYST series, and I'm super freaking excited about it. I've been working on this series for a little while now. I have been kind of flying under the radar and working on this, although I did release the trailer, but I'm so excited that it's finally here. I've always really loved back to school videos, even though I'm not in school anymore. It's been a minute. That said, I feel like gisting and the whole concept that we've created around gist, which is getting your shit together, a lot of the times that includes a lot of the things that I either learned from high school or I learned from school in general, like scheduling and routines, being organized, even just like taking notes, using a bullet journal. Those are not things I did in high school, but they're definitely things I did now and probably should have done in high school. And so I figured why not kind of lace those two things together. And whether you are going back to school or not, everybody could pretty much get their shit together at some point. Figured instead of calling it back to school, we could call it Back-To-GYST and get all of our shit together before September. So with that, today being the first video, I figured I would share with you guys kind of like a beginner bullet journal video. I've been using a bullet journal now since January. It is the first time I took one over completely. I dabbled in and out with using a bullet journal last year, but I've really actually only used a bullet journal for this year, and it has been very eye-opening. So I want to basically share a lot of the basic go-to beginner bullet journal spreads that you guys can easily incorporate into your own life. I'll leave links to bullet journals and anything that I used in this video down below. And I mean, aside from that, we're gonna be jabbering quite a bit as I go over. I'm gonna do voice notes just like old school, so stop rambling your ear off now, and let's jump into all of the beginner bullet journal spreads that you guys can easily use to get your own shit together, or for school, whatever. Back-To-GYST. Okay, so especially if you're a first-time bullet journaler, you're gonna wanna make an index at the front of your bullet journal. You don't have to get too fancy about it. Literally just write index at the top of a page if they doesn't already basically have one built into your bullet journal. And this is just where you're gonna keep track of what page everything is on. It doesn't seem very useful in the beginning, but once you actually start filling out your journal and like having different spreads, and if you ever need to source one or go back and find one, you go to your index and you can easily see what page it's on. Also, if your bullet journal doesn't have pages written on them, just go ahead and take a little marker and just number each page each time you flip. So second is a future log. Now, this is normally January, February, March, April, May. As you can see, I made that mistake, but we are currently in the middle of the year, so you might want to start with August, and you just do 6 months at a glance, and then when you flip the page, you can do the following 6 months, giving you a full year, or just stick to the 6 months if you'd rather just wait. So I sectioned everything off by counting all of the squares, and then in each month, you're able to kind of write down, what goals you want to hit those months, or if you have any events, like I know that there's a wedding coming up in October, so I can put that down, or I could put down things like Youtober because I know that that's going to be something I'm working on come October. You can write down any kind of birthdays, special events, goals, just anything at all, and it gives you a really good glance at your full year and kind of like a future forecast of what you're looking at, or I guess what your life is looking like. And then once you actually start filling out more monthly, weekly, and daily spreads, you can start migrating these things over. So this spread is optional, but I like having an objective spread in my bullet journal, especially towards the beginning of my bullet journal, because it helps me basically narrow down exactly why I'm even bullet journaling to begin with. This is a place that you can keep your overall goals in life. It doesn't necessarily have to be so planned out by month or year by year. These are just kind of things that you want to do with your life. And I find that it helps if you keep the left side as a mini brainstorm that you can add to as time goes on. You can write down things that you enjoy, maybe some fitness goals you have, things that you want to hit off your life bucket list, maybe work goals. You really can write down anything you want in terms of just what you want to complete or see yourself doing in this life, and then move those things over into your overall goals. And then from there, you can put them into your future log, like if you know exactly what month you want to hit them. But if you don't, then they're all here in one spot, and you're keeping track of the bigger things that you basically want to succeed at or accomplish in your life. So this next one can either be done now or it can be done on a more monthly basis, but because I use the same budgeting plan all year, I decided to go ahead and put my budgeting spreadsheet before my monthly spreadsheet. So in terms of my actual budget, I did a full Co's Daily Brew on this on the Co's channel, so if you guys want to see it, I will link it up on the screen. But long story short, this is just a place that you can just plan out exactly what you want to do with your finances, if you have any kinds of savings goals, what your income, like how you're going to split up your income between your needs, your like wants, and your future, or I guess like investing in your future in a lot of ways. So the way that I do it is 50% goes towards living. Those are like my rent, bills, food, all that good stuff. Then 30% goes towards pleasures, which is like gym, Spotify, events, anything that I just like to do. And then 20% is investing in my future, which is going towards savings, bills, debt, investments, anything of the sort. And then underneath that, I just basically mapped out exactly what goes into each of those 50, 30, and 20% like chunks. So doing this gives me a really good idea of how I want to be spending and using and just like flowing my money throughout the year. And then on to the right side, you can keep track of it on a more monthly basis or anything like that. This is really, again, just kind of like a free-for-all, whatever you prefer, but I find just having this in one general spread towards the beginning, I can keep track of everything, including my financial goals, in one sole spot. Okay, so now we're getting into more bullet journal basics. The next one you're going to want to do is your monthly spread. So this is kind of like if you were to think of a planner, how they have each calendar kind of laid out for you, except this way you get to do it in your own like unique, creative way that you prefer to see the month fleshed out. So I like seeing, what days of the week are going to be what, so I usually start there. And then off to the side, I like to put my monthly goals, anything that I know I want to get done that month or need to get done that month. Then I usually do like a tarot reading and a motto for the month just to kind of give the whole month like a vibe or a theme. And then I'll write down anything that I need to get done that month, migrating it over from my future log. And then off to the side too, you'll notice I wrote down important dates. That's just to write down any birthdays or events that I've committed to that I need to make sure that I'm remembering. So each month I like to plan out a little fitness routine. Again, you can do this towards the beginning like we did with the budget if you want to have just one fitness routine for the year, but I prefer to have a different fitness routine or switch up my fitness routine usually every month or 3 weeks or so. So I'm actually going to be doing a full Back-To-GYST series video about how to actually plan out a bullet journal like fitness routine and just like map out exactly how to make your own unique fitness routine. But this is just to give you guys some ideas of some of the things that you could write down, some little spreads you can make, some little habit trackers and all that. But keep track or keep an eye out, I guess, for that video, because that one will go way more in depth on how to plan out your actual fitness routine. So the next is the weekly spread. Now this is going to basically map out your week and schedule your time accordingly. If you know there's certain things you need to get done on certain days, then you put it all here in your weekly spread, kind of like a week at a glance. So I know that Mondays I'm going to be working on my podcast, or Tuesdays I'll usually edit, Wednesdays I'm normally filming. This week in particular, I'm heading away to PEI, so I wrote down like I'm leaving on Thursday night, so I know what night I need to pack, and just I have an overview of how I'm going to spend my week. And then once that's all done, that's when you get into your daily logging. This is where you check into your bullet journal in the morning, at night, or both. And it's basically like each day you write down what your to-dos are for the day, so your to-do list. And then underneath that, you can also write down things that you want to remember, like if you had a memory or a moment of the day that like really just like had some significance to you. Any reminders, like if there's people you need to call back or an email you need to get back to, anything you're grateful for, which I find that even just writing down one thing every day that you're grateful for just makes such a difference. And then each day you check back in and add to this as you go. And you do that until it's time to do the next month. And that's pretty much it. Those are all the basic spreads that you need to know if you want to start bullet journaling. I find that once you get the basics down, it makes it a lot easier to then see what's working for you and what isn't. And then you can start getting creative on some spreads that might be more catered towards you. But I find these basics are a good place to start and a good place to basically feel like you have your shit together and planned out in one place. that is my whole beginner bullet journal video. Let me know what you guys thought down below. If you guys want to see more bullet journal spreads, then definitely let me know by thumbsing this up or commenting, and just, yeah, letting me know and asking me or requesting from me whatever it is you guys want to see more of in my bullet journal. I've been using it not only for planning, but I have one that's for brainwebbing and brainstorming, and then I have a completely different one that is just for videos and such. So if you guys want to ever take a peek inside of those ones, let me know. And aside from that, I'll talk to all of you guys in the next Back to Gist video. Bye guys.